Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing so very well. I have got a couple of things to share with you today, and here they are. I've made a couple of journals. They're blank and I thought I would like to share them with you. So we're going to have a little walkthrough of these. It is currently Wednesday here, so I am filming, editing and uploading this video all in one day because I missed my weekend video. It was my birthday last week, so we had some family stuff going on. And that happens sometimes. It's just the way it goes. So I thought I would jump in and get these sorted and shared because I'm really, really proud of how they turned out, and I'm really excited for you to see what I've done. So we will get stuck right in and see what happens next. Right, so we're going to start with this one, the green one. This is approximately A5 sized. I've got an A5 somewhere here. This will do. So this book is A5. This is just one of my notebooks. So you can see the width is the same and the height is the same. So it is sort of A5 size, and the spine we're looking at, if I had a ruler, if I was more prepared, be funnier, wouldn't it? So we're looking at a spine of 3/4 of an inch. So it's a smaller one. It was the size for this particular journal was dictated by the actual the amount of material I had to make the cover. So this one is a hard journal. It's got some beautiful mixed media decorating on the front. I was really, really happy with how this turned out, and it's got a fabric covered spine, and then the back is plain. So what I did for this whole journal was that I opened my box of journal supplies and I picked these paper flowers out, and I have selected everything else that's in this journal was to match these paper flowers. So we'll have a look inside. So I've got this leather strap around for a closure, but it's not attached, it's just free. I did think about attaching it, but I couldn't find anywhere that I was happy with it where it sat because of the paper flowers. So I decided in the end it was nicer just to have it sort of just tucked in there. So inside the front cover, I've got a couple of pockets. Let me find a tag that I can show you. So there's a pocket in here which goes there. And then this green pocket actually goes the whole way as well. It does the same. It's a crisscross. So it goes to about there. And then this brown one behind here is also a pocket, if I can slide it in there. And that goes the whole way. So that's inside the front cover. And I've got some sewing here, which I did with my sewing machine. And then on the other side, there's a little bit of a storybook page. And then just a cute little tag in here. Now these papers in this book are all tea-dyed, and I tea-dyed them myself, and I've just sewn on a couple of little fabric tags here, and then this is scrapbooking paper on that side. And here this is a storybook. It's a little golden book that I actually picked up and thought it would be adorable to sort of cut down and put in. I've seen a lot of junk journals with the storybook pages and I just absolutely adore them, so I really wanted to have a go at making one myself. And then on this side, I've got this little tuck spot here with this cute little tag in it. And then I have got this tuck spot here underneath, the bigger one, which has got a journal card inside. So photos, writing, whatever. And then that's over the back side of the thing. And this here is really cool. It's actually a tea bag, would you believe? But I loved how it had that sort of vintage aged feel. But it was also transparent, so you could sort of see the storybook through it. So all of the fringing here that you see, and these were actually used to stitch the signatures into the book as well. They're 100% Australian wool. I actually inherited these from my grandmother. Here's one of the skeins here. So you can see it's sort of slightly variegated. And when she passed on, I got a lot of her crafty stuff, and I inherited this from her. And I thought, what am I ever going to do with it? But these three colours just match this journal so perfectly. So I love the way that they feel in there. So there, here I've got more tea stained paper. This one's got a faint rose sort of pattern in the background, a pocket which this tag sits inside, and then here the middle of the signature you can see the yellow wool there. More tea stained paper, a fabric tag here, and I've got a little gourd safety pin with a charm and some beads on there. Then on the back side of this there's a little tuck spot with a tag into there. And then here is another storybook page. And I loved how these two birds are kind of chatting with each other. And now over the page here, there's the other side of that. Some more scrapbooking paper. On this side there is a tuck spot in the upper corner. And then a journal card with the fringe sort of, so like a pull down one, which I like to muck around with the, what am I trying to say? The different positions on the page and seeing what I can do. So over here we've got a tuck spot here, which is a little bit of a paper collage with a little bit of sewing. There is a tag inside it. This can tuck, but also this can tuck. So I've only got one tag in here at the moment, but it would be really super simple to add a second one if that was sort of, you know, or a photo or anything really. So there's another piece of that scrapbooking paper. I love this, and this is all I had left of it. So it's really sad, but it's made to be used. It's made to be used. So here I've got a tuck spot up the top with a journal card up there. Some more tea stained paper. And then in this side here, there's another tuck spot here with the sewing. And then here, on this little tag here, what I did is, this was actually the product tag off the skeins of wool that I was showing you before. So off this skein, these skeins of wool, the 3 of them, I had these little sort of tag things there. Hey, sweetie, what's the matter? I said lunchtime, okay? Alright. So this just goes into there. Sweetheart, Mummy's making a video. We're not going to argue about chocolate right now, okay? Yes. So on this side, we've got, now this is a really nice, excuse me everyone. Sorry about that everyone, mum life there. Piper is 5 and she is very hungry. She's a bottomless pit. She's had some fruit and we were just having an argument over whether or not a chocolate bar could be considered a healthy snack for morning tea, which obviously it is not. So we've compromised now, so sorry about that. Onto here, we've got this paper tea dyes really, really well. I love the grid. When I first bought this, Mum and I were like, oh God, it's so white and the lines are so dark and what are we going to do with it? Because it was in a sealed packet and we weren't sure what the colour was like before we actually got it. But it tea dyes up so nicely and it just looks really cool. So there's some of that in there. Another piece of scrapbooking paper. Here, this is actually a bag. And it was too wide, so I folded it up and sewed it to make a little pocket here. And then I've got this little booklet, which if you fold it out, it's quite funny. How to live wisely. This made me giggle. So inside, there's just some distressing and some tea-dyed paper in there to make that little book, which just tucks into there. Now this bag has also been tea-dyed here, but it's also, because it's a bag, a really big pocket. So I made in here this gorgeous huge journal card to go inside there, which I thought was pretty cool. So that just slides in there full size. Sometimes it's nice to have the really big, the big ones. So that's the back of that. Then here I've got another tuck spot. Now this one is like what I was talking about before, except this one actually does have 2 tags in it. So it's got the little one there, which is in this first tuck spot, and then behind the back sort of one, there is another journal card in there. So that is actually a pocket, like those edges sort of solid, whereas this one is only at the bottom, but the top is free. So that's sort of how that one works. Once again, in the middle of the signature with the wool, another little cloth tag. And now this is the back side of the bag. So once again, in this large pocket, I've got a full-size journal card. And this one has one of the other tags off the wool skein. in there. Now this was actually the original top of the bag, so if I was to flip this over, you can see that it's a different height sort of there, and in that pocket I've got another little journal card which fitted in there. Now this scrapbooking paper here has got one of the scraps of the storybook pages, because I had to trim them down a little bit, but they made really cute accents. And then a tag, a nice short fat one, fitted in there with the cherries on it. The other side of that cool grid paper there, which has got the sewed in tuck spot, and another cool fat little tag on that one. Here, another cloth tag. I really like the way these turn out, and they're so soft, and they add just a little pop of colour. And you could also use these as a tuck spot without any real issue. Probably not for anything super heavy because it is fabric, but it would be doable. And so then here's some more tea stained paper here. This one's a full length pocket with, and there's the third tag of the wool on that there, so that sort of slides. Then here is a tuck spot here on this paper was a short one, so I've sort of made this sort of pull out turny tab, and then I turned the other end into a tuck spot there, which is pretty fun. And then on the back side of it, it's got I'm throwing it. It's got that tag there in it. So that sort of just sits in there. And another page here, tea stained. And then we've got this scrapbooking paper's got another pin with a couple of beads and a little, I thought this charm was really perfect because it's a little paw, and there's sort of been this book that I chopped up, the storybook that I chopped up was the home for a bunny. So I thought it was a cute little bunny paw. Bunny paw. Wow. So it's been a busy week, guys, and I've got no brains left. So here I've got a little tuck spot with a cute little tag in it. And then underneath, this one's actually a pocket, not a tuck spot. So it's got two sides. And then it's got the bunny underneath. So there is that. And then that, which is kind of cute. And then on the other side, the other back side of that page, some more tea dyed paper. And this is cool. It's got, you can see that was actually from the grid paper, which had the, let me see if I can find it, this sort of detailing down the bottom. I made the cool print. And this one's proper vintage. It has a little hole in it. Now up here, I've got a tuck spot here, and I don't have anything in this one. So that's pretty bad of me, but a tag will go in there. I will have to put something in that. Have I got anything here? I have a couple of pre-cut tags. I wonder, oh, there's a roll of washi. Any of these? Orange, no. That might be cute there. It's half a journal card. I don't know why it's half a journal card. There's a grey one. Needs to be a pull down. Kind of like that. I might see if I can do something with this, probably off camera, so that you don't have to sit here watching me muck around with tags all day, but that's kind of cute in there. I'll leave it there for now to remind me. In here, once again, that's the middle of the signature where the wool is. And then on the other side of this tea stained paper is once again has the roses on it, but this was a different shade to the blue. A full-size pocket with that tag in it, or out of it, as the case may be, because I've been carrying the book around to bits and pieces. Another storybook page, and then here he is on the other side. Then this sort of tuck spot with the butterflies, and then this really lovely piece underneath, tucked in there, the tag. Flip that over, that's the back of that one. Here we've got another fabric tag onto this tea stained paper here. And then this piece of scrapbooking paper has got another little tag in the pocket just poked in there. And then that is the back page. Now here at the very end of the journal, I've got, I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually about 1/8 of an inch wide. And it's got an accordion sort of style. And it's a really big pocket so that it can take, you know, a couple of things, you know, your stickers, a washi card, or it can fit some serious serious amounts of goods in here, just purely because it's got that room to move. And I loved when I found this scrapbooking paper that it had the Once Upon a Time, which I thought really matched really cute with the idea of the story. So that is that one. So I will pop that aside and we will get on and have a look at the next one. Okay, so this one here I was super pleased. It was a complete experiment, this one. I've made journals before. I make a lot of journals, and this is my first time sharing them with the internet, so I hope I'm doing okay. But I do make a lot of journals, but this is the first one I had made in this style. So basically, it's smaller than A5. So where's my A5 book again? My Crozy like a fox. So you can see here, there it's shorter and narrower. And the actual measurements are about 5 by just short of 7 inches. So it's still a good usable size. Although I do have a soft spot for tiny journals. I do have a soft spot for the little ones too. It's just, I guess, one of those things that, once again, it was dictated by the size of the material I had for the cover. I don't usually, when I make a journal, I don't set out to make it a particular size. I just grab whatever I've got at hand and then put that to work. So, sorry, my throat was a bit dry. So it's got this really pretty charm on the front on a pin, and this is actually a locket, so it does open. I don't have anything inside as yet, but there is that there. It's got this really lovely wooden bird on the front with the leaf and the couple of little pearls, and I thought that that was a really cute. These Tim Holtz word strip stickers, if you've seen my Alice plan with me, you've seen me using these, but I love them so much. They're really lovely. So the special thing about this book is the spine. So I don't know if you can sort of, here we are. So it's got this lovely tassel on it, but for now, whoop, it's a cloth strip spine. So you can see the signatures completely exposed, and they are sewn onto these 2 strips here, which make up the journal. And I really, like I said, I'd never tried this style before, so I went sort of simple and just to sort of get to know it, and I'm really love how it turned out. So I'll definitely do this again and see, sort of play around how I can fancy it up. So it's sewn on with, there's some embroidery thread there, but you can also see some more of that green, Grandma's green wool here, which was used in the signatures and in all of the sort of embellishments. And then that beautiful burgundy tassel. Now this, once again, as I picked out with the yellow flowers for the other journal, this was the item I pulled out of my journal box. So all of the supplies in this journal that I used were picked to go with this tassel. So, and I love the way that he looks on the back there. And that's the back cover there. And I've got this really cool ribbon and lace as the tie. So once that's undone, you'll see that it's just one on each cover, and there's a strip of each. So I really loved the sort of super cool plums and burgundies of this color scheme. Really appealed to me. So inside the front cover, we've got a pocket here with a journaling card on it, and now that is actually what that grid paper looks like in the white. And I kept this particular page white because the white was sort of a running theme, pops of white. And this is actually part of a handmade envelope. I say handmade envelope, handmade paper envelope. So you can see it's got a leaf in it, and it seemed to really just match with this gorgeous, I love this blue scrapbooking paper. It's one of my favorite designs. So inside there is a tag. So that just slips into that pocket there, and that slips into that pocket there. And you can sort of see, maybe you can, maybe you can't, that there's the strip there with this at the start of the first signature of the spine, and I love the way that that looks. It's super cool. So once again, tea-dyed paper in here. Now this journal, because I had the pops of white, I did something a little bit different, and I have got a combination of both tea-dyed and white pages. So this white paper here is a 100 GSM Silky Smooth plain white paper that I've printed a 5mm dot grid on, because I love working with a dot grid. It's perfect for sketching and writing and everything. I love a dot grid. So I decided that if I didn't want to just put plain white paper in, and so I printed the dot grid on that in the greys, and I really, really like how it turned out. First I wasn't sure with the contrast, but the more I worked through the journal, the more I was pleased that I'd made that decision. So here once again I've got the fabric tags with a staple, I don't know what you want to call that, embellishment, decoration. And then here's some tea-dyed grid paper. It's grid on one side and it's got note-taking lines on the other. So there's that. And then these are actually pages out of a vintage folk art book. So they are patterns that were used in folk art, and I picked this one out and thought it really matched with the sort of homey, florally theme that I kind of had going here. So there's some more white, another piece of tea stained paper in there. And then here's the middle of the first signature. You can see the green wool that's holding the signature actually together, and then the pink is where it's sewn onto the fabric spine. So then more tea stained and white. Here's some more a folk art book, another fabric tag. I made this one more of a writing journal rather than a traditional junk journal. So there's a lot more blank pages, I suppose, rather than the other one, which had a lot more scrapbooking paper and a lot more sewing. This one still does have its decorations, but in my mind I was sort of making different options, and I really, really love how they turned out. So that tea stain paper was actually the top sheet in the oven, and when I dried it, wow, it just had these amazing textures. I love how it turned out. So this is between the signatures, and I won't point out every single one, but you can see here the cloth spine poking through. So this here is a pocket with a journal card inside. That's what that looks like. And then on the other side it's got the grid, the white again, and then another folk art page with the fabric tag, and another white, and another tea stained. And that's, you know, I had a method for how I put these together so they were spaced evenly. Once again, the middle of the signature. And this too was a nice dark piece. This was, I put some coffee in when I did these ones, and I love how they turned out really sort of grungy looking, sort of a bit different. Once again, here's a fabric tag with the staples, the folk art pages, the white with some added tea dye finger smudges just to make it authentic. And then in here is another one of these beautiful big tags. And then here I've got on this page, there's just a safety pin, paper clip on here. And then I've got this really beautiful big journal card under there, and I absolutely adored this when I saw it, and I just had to put it in. Even though it was nearly the size of the whole page, I had to include it. I loved it so much. So I decided to just make it sort of separately and then pop it on the paper clip. So that's just there. And then here is another pocket with this beautiful navy scrapbooking paper that I adored. Sort of there. Some more white. Now this tea stained paper has got here, you can see it's actually transferred over what was on top of it, and which is why it's reversed. And it did say Orion, which is my son's name, but it was partly, there was a couple of bits of paper on top, so it's only got it's missing the O, and it's backwards, but I left it there because I really loved that sort of vintage handwriting-y look, even though this was actually just his school teacher sending something home in an envelope, and I decided to tea stain the envelope. But it does, I thought it looks really cool, so I popped that in there. Then I've got here a scrapbooking paper insert, and inside this particular pocket, it's like a ledger paper sort of design, which I thought really suited this. I've got this gorgeous little, these turned out so cute, I was so proud of these. I had this tiny little scrap of handmade paper with the rose petals and sort of florals in them, and I really wanted to use it, so I made this little booklet here which has got a bit of folk art paper and a bit of grid / lined note paper in it. And there is actually 2 of these because I had enough to make 2, but you'll see the second one in a minute. But it's quite delicate and soft, and I was worried about it coming apart, so which is why it fits really, really nicely into that sort of deep pocket there to protect it. So then I've got more of this tea stained there, more of the ledger paper here with the fabric tag, tea stained, white, and in here another one of these big ones there. I like that deep pocket, and I like the idea that you can sort of write and draw in 2 different ways on those. So there's that one, tea stained, and you can see there where what I was talking about before about being on top while it baked in the oven and being darker because it wasn't covered by something else, but obviously something else was over there. So you can see this really cool line down it, which I love these textural pieces. I love how they've turned out. So another folk art excerpt there, undercoat very carefully. Sorry, small things. Here, more tea stained, another fabric tag, another tea stained paper there, and then some more of the white, tea stained in the middle. And then up here I've got on this tag a clip with a butterfly charm, which I thought sort of matched here. Tea stained, and some more white with a couple of vintagey smudges on it. Another lined and grid. I love how these papers, they're so good. More folk art thingy. And then here I made another full-sized journal card sort of tag because I really liked this one too. It's got the little fabric. This is actually the same fabric that's used in the spine. I had a tiny little bit left over, so I just decided to make that into the, like, I don't know, flippy floppy bit which pokes out the top. And once again, that's paper clipped onto there. So some more white. I've got this wonky. There we are. And some more. See these lines? I loved how these turned out. That was actually from the tray they were on in the oven. And then once again, another ledger paper pocket. And this is the second of those 2 little books that I made with those, the scrap of, look at the beautiful rose petals. Oh God, I love it so much. And then once again inside there is some folk art paper and a bit of the grid and lined paper in there. So those 2 books are same but different. They're same idea and slightly different embellishments on the front. Same sort of style. More tea dyeing here. And then into this pocket there is this journal card there. And then the middle of the signature, this beautiful blue tag here. Another fabric tag. And the back side of that ledger paper there. There. And then this one here. A bit of folk art paper. Another pocket with another one of these tags in it. Okay. These were actually it's sort of cardstock, but they were actually for a personal size planner, but the holes were punched wrong. So I just trimmed it down and made it into a card, and it's turned out really well, and I'm glad because it means I'll be able to use those now. They were sort of sitting in my bookshelf, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? More tea stained with the fabric tag in there. Another pocket with a journal card on there. Inside there, another folk art page with a tag on it in here. And then this is now the back, and that is the envelope that I was talking about at the start from the Handmade paper that I used as the back pocket. So if you remember, let's flip back here, this here was actually the flap, and I trimmed it down slightly to fit and stuck it on because I didn't want it to go to waste. So this is literally just a slide out here. Say that it's just a slide out, but I've got it at the wrong angle. There we go. Gosh. And there's another big journal card with a little pull tab into there. So he just slips back in there, and then that's obviously can take probably not as much as the accordion pocket on the other journal, but it can still take a fair bit, like it's an envelope, so you'll be able to fit a fair few things into there. And then obviously that is the back. So thanks very much for checking out my work. I really love these journals and I'm super glad how they turned out. Now I know that my channel is fairly, well, I'm going to say new. It's been around for a while, but recently revived due to my work and life commitments. But these two journals will be for sale if anybody is interested. I'm not sure how much interest I am going to get, purely because I know that at this stage the audience for the channel is not huge, and I do understand that. But I love these journals so much, and I thought it might be cool to give other people an opportunity to own one as well. So if you like either of the journals you see here, I will be listing them for sale on my Bronwyn and I have an Etsy store called Bubble and Blossom Papercraft Boutique. At the moment it's looking a little lean because we are both working mothers with small children, but we're hoping to over time increase what is on there, and I will show you the stuff that we do on this channel, you know, stickers and paper crafty things and journals and all sorts of fun stuff. So I will pop these two journals up for sale. I think the standard Etsy time is 3 months that they're up. So basically what my plan is to list these. If anybody's interested, I'll have the links down below. You can check them out. And after the 3 months is up, if there's no interest and the listing expires, I will put these in my personal shelf and I will work on them, and you'll see them make a recurrence on the channel as journals that I work in myself. So that's basically going to be the format from now on with any journals that I make. I will show them here. Some of them will be personal, but some of them will be for sale, and I will make sure to sort of explain that at the time. And yeah, if they go in the 3 months, they go, and if they don't, they don't, and I'm totally fine with that. I can either gift them or, you know, use them myself. So there's that sort of admin-y stuff out the way. Like I said before, I'll leave all the links down below for the actual journals themselves and the Etsy store. Please feel free to check them out and have a look. See if you like them. I hope that you do. I had so much fun making these. It's, yeah, I've made a lot of journals, and I know I really enjoyed it. So books for me, I'm an author, so writing, journal keeping, binding the books, it's all part of the process. So yes, anyway, enough from me. Thanks very much for watching. Hope that wherever you are in the world, you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you again.